Welcome to Grief is the New Normal. I'm Dr. Heather Taylor, a licensed psychologist and grief specialist, here to help change the conversation about grief and build community and connection while we all adjust to this new normal we are living in. This podcast is for you if you are grieving or if you are supporting someone in a season of grief. I'm glad you're here. Hey friends, welcome back to Grief is the New Normal. I'm Dr. Heather Taylor, and today we are talking about one of those calendar days that has snuck up on us and hit super hard this year, even when you think you've got a handle on things. And today is part one in talking about Mother's Day. For some people, this weekend is joyful, celebratory, filled with mimosas and flowers and brunch and social media posts full of praise. For others, it's none of that. For others, it's grief. Deep, messy, confusing, or invisible grief. And when you're grieving your mom, or grieving the absence of a mother figure, or navigating the loss of the relationship you wish you had, this weekend can feel like it doesn't have space for you. So if you've been feeling off lately, dreading this coming weekend, or wondering why you're extra sensitive, distracted, or tired, I want to say right from the start, you are not broken. You are not overreacting. This is not in your head. You're grieving, and that deserves space. So today, we're naming what so many people carry into this weekend. The ache of missing a mom who's no longer here, the quiet pain of wishing things had been different, the longing, the love, the complexity, and the pressure to quote unquote celebrate when it's the last thing you want to do. So let's talk about it. This episode is for all the people who don't have a card to send, who don't have a brunch to attend, who walk past the grocery store displays and feel their stomach drop, who dread checking their email because they're worried about what's the next Mother's Day ad that's going to come in and invade their peace in their email and invade the peace of their email inbox. And this episode is also for the people who had a complicated mom or no mom at all. And for those whose grief is not just about missing, but about mourning what never was. So let's name some of the ways this grief shows up. Maybe your mom died recently, and this is your first Mother's Day without her. Maybe it's been years and the grief still stings. Maybe you've become a mother yourself and feel her absence more than ever. Maybe you were estranged or had a deeply painful, complicated relationship, and you're grieving not just that loss, but the lack of resolution. Maybe your mom wasn't safe or nurturing or available, and you carry grief not for her, but for the version of her you needed. Or maybe you lost a mother figure, an aunt, a grandma, a teacher, a coach, a stepmom, someone who mattered deeply, someone who was nurturing and showed up and supportive, even if they didn't have the title of mom or mother. Grief doesn't care what Hallmark says this weekend should look like. Grief just wants to be acknowledged. So what makes this weekend harder is that it's loud. It's visible. It's all over your phone, in commercials, on street signs, in social media posts, whether you're on TikTok or Snapchat or Facebook or Instagram or Substack. And it can feel like your version of Mother's Day doesn't belong. Maybe you're not ready to talk about her. Maybe you want to scream when someone says, "I hope you have a beautiful day." Maybe you smile at others while quietly breaking. Maybe you opt out completely. There's this pressure to be graceful with our grief. And honestly, you get to be messy about it. You get to not respond to texts. You get to cry at the sight of a flower arrangement that looks like something she would have loved. You get to want to be left alone, or want someone to ask, or not know which one you want. And it's going to fluctuate and ebb and flow in these days leading up to the day of and the days after. There is no one right way to do this day because your grief, your dynamic with your mom or mother figure was unique to you. And so how this day progresses for you is going to change each year and can change throughout the day. We don't always know what we're going to need in the moment. We can have this beautiful plan, this care-filled plan. And on the day of, we throw it out the window and we do none of it, or we do some of it, or we do something different altogether. I can't tell you how many clients I've sat with over the years when we think about Mother's Day who've said some version of, I thought it would be easier by now, or I don't even know why I'm crying so much this week. It just feels heavier. Or I wish I could just skip Sunday entirely. Or everyone's celebrating and I feel like I'm in this other space and I'm just falling apart and I have to be quiet about it. I just want to reflect that back to anyone listening. If this week feels heavier, it's because it is, and you are not alone in that experience. So let's shift into creating a care plan for ourselves for this weekend. How do we support our grief? Not solutions, because grief isn't a problem to solve. We want to talk about strategies, anchors, touch points, ideas that might soften the edges of this already really complicated, hard day. Let's start with number one. Number one, permission to opt out. You don't owe anyone a performance. You do not have to show up for brunch if it hurts. You don't have to write the heartfelt caption if your grief doesn't want to speak publicly. You don't have to answer every text or call. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to protect your peace and not mask up for the day and act like you are okay when you are not. Number two, acknowledge your version of motherhood and loss. This is for all the people who are navigating non-traditional grief, whether that's grieving a strained or abusive mother, grieving a mother who was physically present and maybe emotionally unavailable, grieving a mother figure you weren't related to and deeply loved, grieving the loss of a child and wondering what your identity as a mother even is now, and grieving after infertility or loss, or even if you're still in active infertility and or grieving infertility or child loss and feeling invisible in the celebration of mothers. These types of grief are valid. This grief belongs, and it doesn't require explanation, justification, or defense. It just is, and it gets to take up space today. Number three, create a small ritual. Doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Sometimes grief just needs a direction to go. So whether that's lighting a candle, making her favorite drink or her favorite food, writing her a letter, playing music she loved, saying her name out loud, wearing her scarf or perfume, looking for signs of her that day, planting something in her memory, or do none of these. Sometimes the ritual is in doing nothing, just feeling. We don't always have to do. Sometimes we can just be in the grief space, and that's enough. Number four, anchor yourself somatically. Your nervous system might be carrying a lot this weekend. Trying weighted blankets, body scans, cold plunges, journaling just 3 lines at a time, setting a timer, taking a walk without your phone, splashing cold water on your face, box breathing, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, over and over again. These are not fixes. These are invitations to re-enter your body when your grief is trying to float you away. You might want to I talk about this often with clients, dissociation can be a healthy coping strategy. It's when we lean into the dissociation too much, that's when we can create harm. So that's why staying grounded. So even if you're going to watch or binge watch a bunch of shows this weekend to get through the day, try to drink cold water and notice it going down your throat and esophagus into your stomach. Try holding ice cubes in between episodes. Try going for a 2-minute walk outside just to stretch your body, even if it's down the road to your mailbox and back, just getting up and stretching in between episodes, and then go back into your show. That gets to be okay too. Here's a quick note for supporters, our grief supporters. If someone you love is grieving their mom this weekend, please don't assume they're fine just because they are not saying anything. You don't have to fix it. Even just saying something as simple as, I'm thinking of you. No need to reply. You're allowed to feel however you feel this weekend. I'm thinking of you and your mom. That kind of support goes a long way. So as we wrap up today's little mini-sode, we're doing 2 parts this week. So that's why we're keeping them kind of shorter. Just some closing thoughts. You don't have to love Mother's Day to love your mom. You don't have to show up joyfully to be doing healing work. And you are not wrong, weak, or broken if this weekend makes you want to disappear. Okay, so here's an invitation to reflect this weekend. What would honoring your grief actually look like this weekend? What do you need, not what others expect of you? And what's one gentle thing you can offer yourself instead of judgment? This episode is for anyone grieving a mother, and it's for anyone whose relationship with Mother's Day is complex, contradictory, or quietly painful. You are not alone. You're not grieving wrong, and you don't have to carry it in silence. I'm holding space for you. Remember to be kind to yourselves today, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
That's it for today's episode of Grief is the New Normal. If this conversation resonated with you or you think it might benefit someone else, please share it. Sharing can open doors to healing, understanding, and normalizing these griefy conversations. If you're craving deeper insights or ongoing support, consider signing up for the Grief Gap newsletter. It's packed with resources, tips, and personal stories to help you navigate your grief journey. Visit the website www.griefisthenewnormal.com to subscribe. For those who prefer a more personal touch to their healing process, check out my grief journal, Authentically Unapologetic. It's designed to help you explore your grief on your own terms with prompts and exercises that encourage reflection and growth. I'm Dr. Heather Taylor, and I look forward to our next meaningful conversation. Our soothing tunes are provided by the Datacorns. If you're interested in sharing your story, collaborating, or learning more, please email me at hello@griefisthenewnormal.com. You can also stream the episodes on YouTube for more engaging content. Until next time, keep exploring your grief with intention and support, remembering you don't have to do this alone.